Hello and welcome to another episode of Keeping Abreast with Karen on this Mammary Monday, another gloomy day. And with us today is Jan Cotaya, also a breast cancer survivor and a member of our Mom Squad terrorist group that we had spoken of in an earlier podcast. How are you today, Jan?
Doing well, thank you.
You look fabulous.
Oh, you're so sweet. So do you.
Well,
And thank you. And I love all the work you're doing. Happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Jan was one of our honorees in 2019, and you have a very, very good story. You're almost like a breast cancer pioneer. Can you tell us your story? And you are surviving.
I can. Yeah, it is actually interesting, and I think when I look back on it now, I think it would have been different had I been diagnosed today as opposed to 25 years ago. You know, when I first, it was scary. I was young. I was 38 years old. I was young.
Wow.
Nobody in my family had breast cancer before, and no one has had it since. And so It's definitely something different and new. And so the first, and you had asked me about being stage 4, which when I went into this, I didn't know it was stage 4. They didn't actually give me that stage 4 diagnosis until later on. And I had done a needle biopsy, and the needle biopsy came back negative, that it wasn't cancer. And I just had a cyst. Yeah. So I went into surgery to remove a cyst thinking I didn't have cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And so they come out and they say, no, it is cancer, but they didn't remove it. And because they wanted me to have my options and stuff like that. Well, you know how that is. You go around, you get lots of recommendations. I ended up changing doctors, and I went to a wonderful doctor, Dr. Alan Stollier, who I think a lot of people have used. I think he may be retired now, or maybe just consulting. And so when they went in the second time, they didn't tell me stage 4, and I was supposed to have the reconstruction at the same time, and it didn't happen because it was much further progressed than they realized.
Wow.
It actually affected, and I don't remember the number of lymph nodes and stuff like that, which I guess they didn't see on scans. They didn't have the ability to see on all that. So I don't know if in today's and how much technology has changed, if they would have caught that before I went in.
Wow.
So it's a little bit, so you don't know, but it was scary. So I had a couple of bumps to start off, but then, we got through it.
And this was pre 3D tomosynthesis availability. So a lot of it was probably winging it on a 2D and doing exploratory surgery.
It absolutely was. I did all the mega scans, all the different things. You still did all that. So, but I think even they were surprised when they got in there. Obviously they were, that it was more invasive than they had realized.
Well, it sounds like you had some heavenly intervention there. That's a scary diagnosis.
Scary. So it was scary. And, but yeah, I don't know, Karen. I think you just went day by day. You just kind of went through it and said your prayers. Yeah.
And you get a little bit numb and glazed over. And
Exactly.
You just can't believe it's happening to you.
You can't. You just can't. And my mother had died 2 years before with throat cancer, not breast cancer. So my whole family was like, wait, we're doing this again, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So scary. It really was. It was scary. Yeah.
And you said you had a young family. How old were your children at the time?
My 7, 9, and 12. So they were little. So I think though that I knew I had to take care of them. I had to keep going, and I had to stay strong for them. And I do think attitude is a lot of things, positive attitude, believe that, did a lot of meditation, said my rosary a lot, and I absolutely, and I do believe in that, I
Indeed.
really do. Yeah.
Those integrative therapies make the difference in how you get well.
Yeah, it does.
It's meditation.
And like I said, the meditation was really soothing, and it really helped. And I was very good about doing it because I needed it. I needed it because I had to get up. I still worked. I worked through the whole thing,
Wow.
and had 3 kids, and I mean, I had help. My husband was there and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Lots of friends. I
Mhm.
had my dad was alive. My mother had died, but my dad and my sisters. So I had lots of help. I have a great family where we live, and I also have a great amount of friends. They took they drove carpools for me. They
Mhm.
brought food. They brought kids to practices, all the things that you just were too sick to do. And back, I think 25 years ago, I was sick. I don't think they had the anti-nausea medicine
Oh,
and stuff like
poor
that.
thing.
You were sick, so
Oh,
there was a lot that you couldn't do when you were weak, but you just kept going.
and we were talking about that earlier today in a podcast recording. That some people don't know what to say or do in a
Right.
situation for you. And then you're surprised by some people who jump in and drive carpool for you
Right.
or take your
Yes.
trash out and they don't ask, it just
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
And they just do it. And I've learned from it. So now I know one of the best things was a friend came by and brought like a box just of cereals and breakfast foods. She's,
Yeah.
everybody drops off dinner and then you still got other meals to do, stuff like
Right.
that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right. And it was perfect.
It,
Picked up my kids and take them to study for exams and stuff like that, it was very, very nice. And there's a lot of, really good people out there.
and
It was
that's true.
helpful.
And I think that's probably going to be the theme of this podcast is knowing what to do for someone. Don't ask if you can help them, just
Just
do
do
what
it.
you
And
see
I
needs
have
to be
learned that
done.
you show up with the soup, you show up with
Yes.
something, or you pick
Yes.
up, you drop off, you do something.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
I
makes all
agree.
the difference. It sure
Makes all
does.
the difference in the world. Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
And your husband Lee's a great guy, and I know he
He
was a great
really,
source of
yeah.
strength for you.
Oh, he was really good. He was scared, but I found he some kind of he doesn't know what to do, so then you end up doing with something that doesn't need to be done, but he just didn't know what to do. So he just kind of walks in a circle. But he was very, very good. I can't say it, not enough good things, really. He was really good and loving and stuff. So it was
And it
nice and
helps when
supportive.
you have strong family bonds and friends, and you
Lots,
get
yeah,
through it a lot faster.
it does. It does help. It really does. Really, really did. So
Well,
yeah.
if you could give a piece of advice to someone who might be listening to this podcast, struggling with their own breast cancer
Uh-huh.
crisis and journey, what would you say to them?
Golly. Um, have faith for sure.
Hmm.
Um, Positive attitude is a biggie. A positive attitude is basically, I'm going to say you have to kind of love your doctor. If you're
True.
not, if you don't love your doctor and feel confident in him, then change doctors. I changed doctors in the middle, or in the beginning rather. I changed doctors because I just didn't feel right. I also think that the nurses are a phenomenal a source of information. The doctor comes in there with all his stuff, blah, 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 but the nurses know the details. Don't, they'll ask you, you can ask them anything and they really know you're really going to get sick or that these are going to be the side effects. Expect this, don't expect that. I thought the nurses were wonderful. But I'll tell you, the best piece of advice I got was from Dr. Stolier. I go into him and blah, blah, blah. And of course, I'm crying and because the diagnosis is not great, and he says, what are you crying about? And I said, well, all is going on. And he told me, he says, you give me 1 year of your life to get better. And if you're not where I think you're going to be in a year, then I'll cry with you. So I'm
Wow.
like, well, I can give a year. I can
Hmm.
do anything for a year. And I didn't cry again till that year was up.
Hmm.
I really didn't. I was determined not to do it, that I was going to be strong
Wow.
and push through it. And like I
Just
said,
some
I had
simple
great support.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was impacted me. It really did.
Yeah, simple words that made a big difference. And I think I remember you telling me that failure for you was not an option because you had such a young family
I
and you
had,
wanted to be
right.
around.
I felt like I wasn't done yet. I had
Yes.
to be there, and still feel that way.
Well,
Not done
yeah.
yet. Not done yet. Yes.
Oh, that's true. No,
Yeah.
we are very blessed in
Very,
the
very much
treatment that
so.
we received, and And I know a lot of survivors who went through Dr. Stolier's office and just sing his praises. And I have never
Right.
had the pleasure of meeting him, but his reputation precedes him for sure.
Right. Yeah. He was very, very good. He was, and
Mhm.
very calming, and just it made me feel like, all right, I'm going to be okay. So I felt that I needed to go with that, that I was going to be okay.
Well, Jan,
And I
you are the
needed to do it for
picture.
my sisters and my dad. They were my
Indeed.
backbone. They were the strength, because I was like, oh my God, we can't do this again. I can't do this to
Right.
them again. We had just buried my mom,
Yeah.
so
That's
yeah,
so traumatic.
yeah.
Well,
So,
Jan, you are the picture of how no one
well,
would
thank
know.
you.
You went through such a scary ordeal, and no
Yeah.
one would guess that you have 7 beautiful grandchildren.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And they are adorable.
They are, and the
Yeah.
Cotaya family is
Uh,
some of the best people I've ever known in my life, and
oh,
and
you're
so
the
glad to
sweetest.
have
Uh,
gone through this life with you all in it.
oh, I feel the same about y'all. I really do. I really do.
Well, I thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you at Click to Save, our virtual event this
I
year.
just saw that email. That's wonderful. I hope so
You
too.
know,
Yes.
we're
It's
we're
crazy times we're in right now, huh? Gosh.
expect a few laughs and a few flubs because we're kind of making it up as we go
Well,
along. But
you'll be along with everyone else. I think it's about the same.
that's it. That's
That's it.
it.
That's it. That is it.
All
Uh,
right, honey. We
all
love
right.
you.
Love
Say
you
hi to
too.
everyone.
I will. You do the same. Thanks,
Okay,
Karen.
babe. Bye bye.
Bye.